I don't even really know how to start this off. So I'm just going to kind of dive into it and just kind of go wherever I want to, essentially. So, you know, a lot of people talk about this whole thing with go woke, go broke. And what does that mean? It means that a lot of movies that are in theaters, if they do anything that is considered woke or borders on wokeness, they tend to lose money or at least underperform in terms of, get less money than what they expected. So if a movie planned on doing something that had no wokeness to it, and let's say the expectancy was to get about $600 million, but then they put something that was woke in there and now it's down to 400 million. That's pretty much kind of what that means. Now, what does woke mean to them? Just anything that has characters in it that's black or women and gay, lesbian, anything that's not straight white male, essentially. Now, on this list right here, I have 4 movies, 2 of which I've seen. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 of which I've seen and 2 that I didn't. Now, I remember when Black Panther came out in 2018. And of course, you had Tommy Lahren and a few other right-wing conservative pundits who were basically saying, well, why do you have black people and African-American folks excited to go see this movie? They should be this excited to go vote. Well, I can't speak for all black folks, but I'm excited to go vote and I'm excited to go see a movie that I want to go see. So, but again, we know what that says. It just means, Marvel for once had a movie that had all black characters. Keep in mind, we've seen all of your movies. We've seen the Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Avengers. We've seen all that, and all those were great. Why can't we just have one with us for once? Keep in mind, I'm not racist. I'm just a little bit of a race baiter. And I'm probably going to say that a few times throughout this show. Just a little bit. Now, keep in mind, they say go woke, go broke. Meaning you put something woke in there, you're going to go broke. You're not going to make any money. Black Panther. The budget on that movie, I'm sorry, again, before I go into that, we've talked about budget and box office before. Keep in mind, what is the budget on a movie? The budget is the money they spent making the movie. So you have 2 sides of the budget. You have production budget, which is what it costs for them to actually produce and make the movie, go through, directing and put in the music and the casting and all that. And then you have the marketing budget, which is the money they put in to advertise the movie. Obviously, most of the time for Marvel, they don't even really have to put in that much for ads because as soon as you say the word Marvel, people are going to be there in theaters for it. So all you got to do is tell people the next Avengers movie comes out May 10th of 2025. The theaters are already going to be packed. You don't even have to market it. So there's that. What they did on Wikipedia is when they show the budget on there, they take the production budget and combine that with the marketing budget. So it's the overall budget. The overall budget for Black Panther was $200 million. And guess what the box office was? It was over 1.3 billion. And I got to be honest with you. I remember watching Black Panther in theaters in 2018, and I thought it was good. I never thought that it was actually going to get over 1.3 billion. I thought at best it was probably going to get around between 6 and 700 million. Again, I thought that the movie probably wasn't going to get anywhere near $1 billion because, well, the cast was all black. And I just didn't see that happening. Again, not racist, just a race baiter. So there were a couple other movies that were considered woke by many people. Now, some of them failed, to be fair, and then others still succeeded. There was a Disney movie by the name of, it's called Strange World. I guess it came out last year. Now, I didn't see it. I felt like I've outgrown a lot of Disney stuff, but I'll still go back and watch some old other movies. Now, I didn't see this movie. I don't know what it's about, but I do remember reading that apparently there's a character in there that's gay. I don't know if it's the main character or if it's like a supporting character or whatever. Now, the budget on that movie was 180 million, and the box office was only 73 million, which means they lost 107 million dollars. Okay. Now, again, I don't know if that was because the character in there was gay or maybe the plot was weak. I don't know. I didn't watch the movie. I would have to watch it and then kind of just judge for myself. If I ever decide to watch it, I'll do a review on it, let you guys know. What else came out recently? Another movie that I did not see, at least I haven't seen it as of now. I don't know if I'll ever watch it in the future. Maybe, maybe not. Apparently, the Mermaid movie that came out early this year, the budget on that movie was 300 million, Now, keep in mind, people said that this movie was going to fail because the original mermaid was supposed to be a white female, and in this movie, you had a black female. She was played by Halle Bailey. I'm sorry. I almost said Halle Berry. That's not the case. Those names are too close to each other. But you know who I'm talking about. That movie still grossed $570 million. That was more than I thought it would gross, and probably more than what a lot of people thought it would be. Some people told me that they watched the movie, they thought it was real good. To those of you who decide to watch it, I'm sure it's available on Disney Plus by now. And now we get to my favorite action movie of 2023, Fast X. Now, I haven't heard that many people complain about this one, but I've probably heard one or maybe two people say that Fast X was considered woke because the antagonist of the movie was supposedly gay. I've watched the movie 3 or 4 times by now. I didn't see him as gay per se. I mean, he was flamboyant, he was crazy, he was silly, he was ignorant. You know, he kind of reminds me of the Joker in a way. This guy was played by Jason Momoa. His character's name was Dante Reyes. Of course, those of you who saw the movie, you already know. Now, even if he was gay, that wasn't the central plot or the central theme of the movie. The central theme of the movie was he was trying to get revenge on Dom and his team because they killed his father in the 5th movie. That movie budgeted $340 million. Box office, over $780 million. Seems like sometimes you go woke, you go broke, and other times you go woke, you could still succeed. And by the way, let's not even mention Barbie, that budgeted $145 million and still grossed over $1.44 billion at the box office, which I definitely didn't see coming. And I'm sure even Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie never saw that coming. Now, here's what I've said. Now we're getting to my favorite horror franchise, Scream. And my favorite horror film of 2023, Scream 6. Without further ado, let's go into this right here. Scream 6 banned in Lebanon over inclusion of LGBTQ plus characters. Now, there's 2 things I want to say about that. Number one, I'm not going to keep repeating all those letters like that and all those signs or whatever. It's too much, okay? No offense to anybody who's part of that community, but I'm just going to say LGB because come on, you don't have to use 20 to 25% of the alphabet for that. I know who you are. I know what you're talking about. Now, as I stated before, Scream 6, which is my favorite horror film this year, and I've watched that at least a dozen times, maybe 24 times by now. 2 of the characters in there were lesbian, Mindy and Annika, who were played by Jasmine Brown and Devin Nakota. Now, it says right here, Scream 6 has reportedly been banned from being shown in Lebanon's cinemas due to its inclusion of openly LGBT characters. Lebanon, which is a country in West Asia. The film is said to have had its release delayed from March 10th to April 13th in the region. It will now, however, not be shown at all in Lebanon after Paramount refused to censor anything in the movie, Beirut reported. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Saw Brokeback Mountain on the big screen in Lebanon back in 2006, said Lebanon-based film critic Anis Tabet on Twitter. Today, Scream 6, a solid sequel, by the way, has been banned in Lebanon because of the LGBT characters. Scream 6 features openly queer couple Mindy and Annika, who share a brief kiss in the film. Beyond that, LGBT representation and or storylines are virtually non-existent, as I've stated before. Now, why am I covering this? Because, again, there's one thing that I'm not surprised about, and there's one thing that I am surprised about. What I'm not surprised is that this movie was banned somewhere just because of that. What I'm surprised about is it didn't make as much of a big of a stink in America. And I'm surprised conservatives and right-wingers didn't jump on this movie and say, oh, there's 2 lesbian characters. It's woke. Ban the movie. But then again, I have to remember that it is a horror film. And as I say on this show all the time, and I'll probably never stop saying it, is horror films, as a general rule, and I wish it wasn't this way, but unfortunately it is what it is, horror films generally don't get as much love and attention from the media and the general public as with action films, drama films, even a lot of comedy movies. It just is that way. People just feel a certain way about slasher horror films. Oh, it's too scary, it's too brutal, it's bloody and gory, and we don't like to see all that. It's nasty, it's gross, whatever. Now, as I've stated before, I said in another video, I said I'm surprised that nobody has attacked Scream 6 because of the lesbian characters. And then I come across this article right here, according to Beirut. Here we go. Some country banned it. Not saying that I'm happy about this per se, but I'm not upset about it all the way either. And again, we went through the budget, box office numbers. I don't even have to look this one up because I'm such a Scream fan and a Scream nerd. I know most of those numbers off top. Scream 6 budgeted between 30 and $40 million. I think it was like 35 to 40 million. The box office was 169 million. They actually beat the third movie at the box office. And the fifth movie, of course, the fourth. We know how underrated and underappreciated that was. But it still didn't top the first two. So, I'm just saying, and by the way, this came out back in April. I'm just now seeing this, but I wanted to talk about it because I'm like, I mentioned before, they were probably going to get mad at this movie. Somebody was going to get mad at this movie some way, some form, some shape, whatever. And it had nothing to do with people getting killed or slashed up or who the killers were. Nope, you got two lesbians in there, and so therefore, we have to ban it. And by the way, I don't know why they just mentioned that thing with the Brokeback Mountain. I don't know. He said, I saw Brokeback Mountain. So I guess they're saying, because they didn't go into detail about Brokeback Mountain. I mean, of course, we know that movie, the two gay cowboys, Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger. I'm guessing that movie played back then, 2006, in the Lebanon theaters. But for some reason, you had this movie here, Scream, that had two lesbian characters, that they had to ban it. What doesn't make sense about that is, with Brokeback Mountain, the entire movie was based around two gay cowboys in their little relationship, love affair. The whole movie was about gay cowboys. When it comes to Scream 6, it's not like the movie was about lesbian characters. The movie was about a mass killer, or actually a group of mass killers, that were going around killing people, and they had a motive for killing people, and I've described that motive in a different video. It just so happens to be that two of the characters just happen to be lesbian. Now, you might have some people in the LGBT community that decided to go see the movie just because of that. Although I would argue that most people who are Scream fans and most horror films go to see the movie because they want to know who's underneath the mask. I could care less about, are some of the characters gay or lesbian, or whether they're black or white or man or woman or Asian or Jewish or Mexican or whatever. I'm just saying, for me, that doesn't matter. But I just wanted to talk about this just because I thought it was funny that I see this article after I said somebody's going to get mad at this movie because of that. And it's Lebanon. There you go. Now, before I end this video, I do want to read a couple of the comments from Reddit about this. On Reddit, somebody here posted, Scream 6 has been banned in the Middle East due to LGBT characters. It was initially delayed until April 13th and now has been officially banned. Apparently, Paramount, because Paramount Studios does the Scream movies, Paramount refused to censor anything in the movie. Good for them. Would have made it at least an extra 10 million in the box office. The only news source that has published this as of now is Beirut. I still don't know how to pronounce that. Listen, I'm going to get that name right next time. And if I read an article from that source, I'll get it right next time. I promise you. However, several Middle Eastern theater companies have already started removing Scream 6 from their coming soon sections. Now, this person here made a comment. He said, let's be clear. This isn't Paramount's fault. If your country is choosing to ban scenes and films from a movie because they fear how audiences will receive them in correlation to religion, that's harmful because of the country, not Paramount. You might not see art on the surface with a film like Scream 6, but it is an art. You're asking artists to censor their art for the sake of interpretation. This is what Adolf Hitler did. You know what I say to that? I kind of want to say thank you to that, because thank you. That wasn't Paramount's fault. Certain movies and stuff getting banned in countries because of hey, it's whatever. You do what you do. But this is one of the few ways in which America is better than most other countries on the globe, is that we have a bunch of movies and shows here that A lot of them are considered controversial, but we still get to watch them, even though they're banned from TV or they were banned from the movies. Hell, they'll still put it on the streaming service. They still have a lot of this stuff on DVD. I mean, of course, DVDs are starting to go out obsolete. Best Buy starting to not sell DVDs anymore, but that's a different story for a different video. But there are ways people can still watch this stuff. You can buy it, rent it on YouTube. I talk about shows and movies all the time in this show. And of course, some of the shows that I watch are considered some of the most controversial. I watch adult cartoons, South Park, Family Guy. They've had plenty of episodes that were banned from TV. They're still showing them. Here in America, you could watch it anywhere. They might have banned certain episodes, but the shows are still going. The Simpsons, American Dad, all of them. I'm sure they might have banned, I don't know if they've banned any episodes of SVU or Criminal Minds or anything like that, because they did touch on some stuff. But, I digress a bit, but overall, that's the point. So, that's pretty much it. So, Scream 6 is banned in Lebanon. And there we have it. That's what they always say on the news, right? And there we have it. Because you know what they're thinking, but they can't actually say it. So there you go. Scream 6 banned in Lebanon. And there we have it.